everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Community Office Hours. I'm joined with my co-host Monica, and today we bring you a delightful contributor story with a prominent contributor, Bogomil. So, hi, Bogomil. We're going to ask you a
Hello,
bunch of
hello.
questions about your journey.
All right, I'm all
Yay.
ears.
Excellent.
Well, let's just start by who are you and what's your background and how did you get here? It's nice to have you, by
Oh,
the way.
thank you. Oh, how much time do I have? Okay, I'll keep it short. My name is Bogomil, but most people call me Bogo, as buy one, get one for free. It's easy to remember. I'm originally from Bulgaria, but I'm living in the Czech Republic for 16, 17 years now. And I started contributing to the Mozilla ecosystem around 2005, 2006. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. I like professionally. I started as a programmer really long time ago, and now I work as a product manager for a software company. So I went from writing code into telling people and agents how to write code.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think a lot of our contributors do tend to have some sort of technical background aside from their contribution. So yeah, that makes sense. And I'm so glad you're here. Been here for 20 years. That's impressive.
Yeah, feels like yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh,
So what specifically got you into Thunderbird?
Ooh, what an excellent question. I was looking for a good mail client in the past, like a long time ago. Then there was not much choice on the market. It was, non-free software, as some people are using today even. And on the free software, there was Thunderbird. I didn't want to use web-based um, software for many reasons. And I wanted to have something that is free and open source. And I downloaded the Thunderbird. Initially, I didn't like it. The interface was like, what is this now? Coming from experience of web user. So I found this something that is different, right? Then I started thinking on how I can make it better. And the first thing that I was actually able to do is to start localizing Thunderbird into my own language. That was an interesting process before. It was going really slow with a lot of approvals. But yeah, I mean, this is why what got me into Thunderbird. It was, the freedom that, it's one of my values, freedom and privacy. And then, all of the extra things that the features of Thunderbird give me.
that's nice. I think that's how I found Thunderbird too, but about 10 years later.
Well,
Hey,
I'm
it
I'm
doesn't matter
I'm old
when you
person,
it
I feel
doesn't matter.
old.
Oh gosh. Yeah, what was my husband was just mentioning the Knight Rider TV show to like a 6-year-old kid this week, and I'm like, he's not gonna get that reference. So I forget like 20 years ago, it's like it doesn't seem like that long, and then it's like, oh wait, it was. And now it's what, 21 years.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah,
and I guess
Wow.
22 for the point one, right, Illy? So yeah. Ugh, no.
Yeah, time flies.
time flies.
So awesome. So what there we've talked a lot, and Heather's really good at this about all the ways you can contribute to Thunderbird. What are the areas that you are most involved in and have enjoyed the most?
All right. Yes, you can contribute to many, many ways to Thunderbird, but I'm focusing on, let's say, two main areas. The first one I mentioned is localization, because I believe everyone deserves software in their own language, even though now we all speak at least, two languages, because it's a must. But there are some people that speak only their local language and still need to have a good software localizable, so they can, use the power of web. So this is what brought me, as I mentioned before. Then I realized that, I'm really good at finding bugs. So I started I started doing this, and I added some items in Bugzilla. But then I realized that, this is not helping. So I started actually reviewing some of the bugs, confirming that they're really issues on the platform that I use. I mean, I'm not doing this really often, but when I have time for the localization, I'm trying to contribute as much as I can on a weekly basis. It was daily basis, but now it's weekly basis. And I have the goals to have the Thunderbird 100% localized into Bulgarian. But for the bugs, triaging and getting more information so the developers can fix it, this is happening from time to time when I have a chance. The other thing I do is, of course, I donate again from time to time, because this is important for a project like Thunderbird. And I see the value of everything that I do in the product now.
Yeah, that's great. And thank you for your donation. Thank you for your contributions. You said
Seriously.
something that was interesting. You said that you started filing bugs and then you felt like that wasn't helping. I still think it is helping, even if people don't have a chance to like jump on the bug right away. It's putting a record of that problem exists in this scenario so that if someone else hits it and starts, searching the web, searching Bugzilla, and they find it and say, "Oh, me too."
Yeah, but then you realize when you're an advanced searcher in Bugzilla, you realize that, the problems are not fixed for a really long time, for many, many reasons, that is, that doesn't, talk good to the project, right? So I'm trying to find and, to find issues that are really bothering me, not like small issues
Yeah.
that I can
Hmm.
live with them. But again, if something is really, really bad, then I will add a bug in Bugzilla these days.
Yeah, that makes sense. And one thing I would like to see us get better at is, improving our ability to label certain bugs as good first issues so that
Yeah.
newcomers could pick them up.
Yeah, that's one thing that GitHub, for all its faults, can do well. It can, we have the labels. So, like for Thunderbird for Android, we've got some of those, but those are nice. But I also like the way that you talked about going from reporting bugs to trying to reproduce bugs, and then kind of that contributor journey, which I think is for a lot of people in open source, that tends to be a common one. It's like, okay, I've gotten pretty good at reporting what's going wrong with my app. Or, and now I want to, it's like, oh, someone reported this. I've got, the same equipment they do. Let me try and reproduce this. And so it's just, I think it's a really valuable way to kind of build on your skills and go from a strength to maybe something you weren't as familiar with, but then you get better at it.
And
Yeah,
I,
correct. And then imagine the happiness when you realize that it's not a bug anymore because it was fixed in the previous version, and it was sitting in the backlog for a really long time, and it was overlooked or it was not prioritized, but now it's does not exist anymore, so you can close it. It's like, ooh,
Yeah.
amazing. The feeling is really nice.
yeah, and I think triagers are kind of like a hidden force that really needs to be celebrated more. Because yeah, we really need people like you in all of our
Hmm.
products to help make sure that the bugs still exist or verify when they've been fixed.
Yeah,
Um,
and mhm.
oh, I was just gonna ask, so as you got started, you kind of mentioned how you started piling bugs, but didn't feel like that was being helpful. So what were some of the other obstacles and challenges that you faced when you first started getting involved? And do you remember how you overcame them?
Oh, yeah, trip down the memory lane.
Once upon a
Um,
time.
yeah, yeah. One of the problems that I had, and I mentioned it, that before the Pontoon software, which was introduced a while ago, that there
Hmm.
was a way for adding translations. You needed to download the files, to use like Poedit or some other software to manually um, check or validate something and translate it and then commit it back. Or before that, there was another software that was like really, um, let's say, buggy. It was not working well. So we needed to spend a lot of time, but I didn't overcome this because Mozilla did the pontoon and invested a lot, and I'm really thankful for that investment into making the localization experience for us very good. The other thing that usually it bothers me is that there are not a lot of people that are translating smaller locales
Mm,
like mine. It's really hard to um, encourage people, engage with them, and for them to go and start translating consistently because there are some people that come and translate string or two because it bothers them, and then they go away. And but we need someone, or let's say like a core of contributors that are really consistently translating because the software is changing, and these days is changing even faster than we can translate, which is good because that means more features. So this is one of the things that still doesn't work in our community. Maybe because we don't have a lot of people that will onboard new translators or will help them to get started. Is something that we need to solve. And it's not just for MyLocale. I think it's for everyone. At least this is what we discussed at FOSDEM with other open source and free software projects. It's a common issue. Another problem that I remember from the past, there were for translating, especially not just around Thunderbird, is translating for all of the Mozilla related products. There were a lot of people doing that, right? I remember we had at least 20 translators in Bulgarian and in all of the Balkan languages that I still remember and I care about. And at some point they disappeared. I know why, but I don't want to comment this.
okay.
But yeah, it's a problem that sometimes the strategy change, or people change, right? And usually initially I get like frustrated saying I will not do translations anymore, and I stopped for a while, for a few years. But then I realized that actually the contribution that I do to the thing I care about, like privacy, for example, because I don't do this for Thunderbird especially or for Mozilla. I do it for the things that I believe in, like
Hmm.
privacy and open source. And those values are much more precious to me compared to all of the small problems, let's say that, with the community. But
Mm.
this needs time to heal, and this is how I've overcome things. Like I give time to myself, focus on the values that I have, and if everything is okay, and I can still do the things that I can for the things that I believe in, I do that.
That's a
That's
really good
really
answer.
awesome.
Yeah, really focusing on on the core values and making sure that you can charge ahead with whatever tools are allotted to you. Um, Out of curiosity, so I've never translated, so maybe this is a silly question that everybody will know the answer to. But you said that um, now Thunderbird is 100% translated in Bulgarian. So if something like a new feature comes up, like let's say a new settings panel or something that needs to be translated, how do you get alerted of that to know, like, oh, hey, there's more over here now?
Yeah, I cannot say that it's 100% translated as of now because I haven't checked in the last 2 weeks. But
Okay,
it's nearly 100%
there's
translated.
an error bar. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Margin of error. Yes. So I usually go and check manually myself. I
Okay.
don't subscribe to alerts. I don't know whether they exist in Pontoon.
Mm,
I do
Hmm.
receive emails from time to time from someone, like the state of the community or how it's called. I forgot the title, and that it says, how much it's translated, and I'm looking for my locale to see. But I usually I go and being proactive, go and check in the pontoon because if there is more translation, that means there is something new that I probably don't know about. So I need to go and read more about the feature and to be able to translate it.
right.
The other thing that
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
do, yeah, is in Mastodon. Sometimes the other translators are starting discussions, or in Matrix. Hey, how do you translate this? And I said, okay, so there is something new I need to go and look at. But yeah,
Ah.
yeah, but I'm trying to go and be active and look in the project itself.
Gotcha. I wonder if it was possible to, set up some sort of alert system, automatically open up a ticket somewhere so that when you do have new contributors that translate one or two strings and then feel like they're just going to leave, it might help retain them if you have like a list of like, these are the outstanding things that need to be translated. Can you just go check off five of them before you take off?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Just a
I
thought.
mean, there is, let's say, if someone wants to do that, to encourage new contributors actively, there is a way how to do that. One way is that you mentioned. The other one is to see um, what they changed last and understand why, because
Mm,
maybe it's just one string that bothers them, or it's something more that you can build on top to say, hey, you translated this, but there are like 12,000 strings more that you can, help us with. Uh, and it's basically going and getting the motivation why they did it. But again, someone needs to take the step and to start doing that. I don't know if there is a way to do that automatically, and probably some people will be hooked or engaged with this kind of algorithm, but I'm not one of them. I
gotcha.
really like to go and check myself. I usually in my phone I don't have alerts going on, and you see that when we exchange emails, I go and reply like 3 days after the email. So I go
Mm.
there and check. Yeah, I know it sometimes it's really bad, but but I prefer to go and check myself the things that I'm interested in when I have time and allocated time for that.
That makes sense. And I think it gives you the capability to be more. present in whatever you're doing at the moment
Yeah.
instead of constantly being distracted. Um, I'm the kind of person that I want to see a checklist and I want to do everything on the checklist, and then I feel like I've leveled up in the game of life. I don't know. Um,
No, it's like, have like, okay, it's like, help here, help us. It's kind of like if we had something for like first timers, almost like a D&D, like here's some side quests that you can do to help us.
Yeah, there is
yeah,
a. Hmm? Yeah, you
I
can
was
do that. You can
I
do
was
that.
gonna say yesterday I was talking with Alessandro about our documentation and encouraging contributors and making that better, improving the contributor journey. And I was like, it's kind of like a choose your own adventure. Wait, can we write it like a choose your own adventure? Oh, that might get old.
That's okay. I would find that absolutely engaging. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Maybe we'll have to give
Yeah.
it some more thought then.
Ooh, we can maybe talk about yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
or
think
Anyways.
add
that's
more
awesome.
badges and pontoon, for different
Yeah.
achievements, right?
Mm, that's a really good way. I know I had a friend, she used to be at Red Hat, and she worked on the badging system for Fedora. And she was originally trained as a graphic artist. And so she came up with some really cool badges. But that's kind of a nice thing that she did to kind of like, have something that, people could easily see. And then if you're kind of that person who's like, well, that's a cool badge. I want that badge. How do I get that badge? I'm like, oh, I translate 50 strings or something like that. So
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
Maybe that is something we can look at more is badging and pontoon.
yep. Fedora badges are amazing. I mean,
they are,
I hold a collection of them as well. But yeah, something like this, there are people that, really love, collecting badges while doing stuff. So why
yeah.
not?
I personally think we should like get old school like scouting sashes and make actual badges that people can just wear. And then at like FOSDEM, they can come to the FOSDEM booth and like get a Thunderbird at FOSDEM badge.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a
That
Boy
might cost
Scout,
a
Girl
little
Scout thing. That's funny.
that that might cost a little bit more than digital badges though.
Right.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So it sounds like you had some really good ways to get over some of the obstacles. And I was just wondering, kind of, I know in my own open source journey, I can think of people who acted as informal mentors to me. And a lot of them are the reason why I am still in open source and was able to turn it into a career. Did you get any mentorship or guidance from other contributors when you started making your contributions to Thunderbird?
Yep, yep. I mean, that's not a must. That's like a standard, right? You cannot
Yeah,
start on your own. Even these days when everything is easy, you have like the first task to do, but then you need to find someone that will help you go through the obstacles and, how everything works in the community. So the first, when I started translating, there is one person that is helped all of the Bulgarian localizers to get started. So he was the first one that showed me how to do translations in general, not just for Mozilla, but for all of the open source projects. Then in the Mozilla ecosystem, I had three or four like senior, like not senior, but more experienced people, let's say that, who were helping me answering all of my questions, giving me ideas on what I should do and what I should not do, which is important as well. Unfortunately, none of them is with Mozilla anymore.
oh,
But with some of them, I'm still friend, and we keep in touch, which is amazing. And for the rest, I'm on like an open mind when I go and try to explore a new area where I can contribute to, because there are a lot of projects that you can go and do stuff with your skills. I'm always trying to look at their onboarding program or instructions, because nowadays all of the projects or majority of the projects they have this, and most of the time, I'm paired with somebody else who is ready to help you and to give you at least directions on what your next steps should be. So yes, I think it's really important for projects like ours that depend on the openness to have a mentor or a person that will help you to go through everything, and then to throw into the deep waters, and if you
Yeah.
survive, you survive.
Yeah.
Maybe we should include some getting started docs on translations in our developer.thunderbird.net. What do you think,
Mm.
Bogo?
I think there is something, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe more. It will be nice.
Mm-hmm.
But I see that maybe there are like gaps for people join, people start easily to translate, because you just log in and start translating. But then I maybe it's there, but I'm not aware. It's information. What happens with my translation, right? Because you translate, and at some point you see that you're just suggesting, and nothing happens until someone approves.
Hmm.
When this someone and who this someone is, you don't know. And I know that, especially for my locale, there are projects that, there is one person that approves that. And when this person is on vacation, that means for a few months there is no approval. And, people that will be responsible for, onboarding new community members, translation members, that will guide them and show them, how to do it, and why, and encouraging them to do it. That's more important. And I believe this is not something that you can do in a document. It needs to have like the so far it needs a human touch.
Yeah, that makes
Mm.
sense. But and whatever we could do to add to the existing documentation to help support that human touch, to provide a reference for those folks.
Yeah, yeah.
So it sounds
Probably
like,
there is.
yeah, okay. And maybe I'll reach out to you as I am vamping our developer documentation to
Oh,
try
nice.
and yeah, one of my projects this year is to try and redo this contributor journey so that people can find what they're looking for quickly. Um, Sorry, my
Oh,
cat
who's
decided to
this?
join the call.
Yay.
Yes.
Nice.
Well,
Like she knows.
half hour. She actually is a little bit late.
I know, right? So, Bogo, it does sound like you've had some chance to mentor others as they've come in. Um, I wonder if you have built some maybe documentation for yourself to kind of help onboard these folks as they get interested. And I'm also curious, like, kind of rate, like, how frequently do you see a newcomer show up that needs a little bit of human touch mentorship?
Well, I'm really bad with working with people. I prefer computers. And I depend on my mood. When I'm happy, I do everything with the passion and, the motivation. But when I'm not happy, you should not be around me online or offline. So when I in a mood to help people, I usually go and send them a thank you note saying, hey, thanks for contributing. Do do you want to do something more? Some of them they reply, some of them not. The other thing I do, which is helpful, I go and because our language is really strange, and we try not to use. We try. Let's say that we try to use very specific terms for in computer jargon, not to use the English-based words that are kind of localized or entered our language, but to use something that if there is a word for this in our language, to use that. There is like a dictionary that was created really long time ago, and there is a specific way on how to translate software. So if someone is really enthusiastic in translating software, but is doing a lot of mistakes, in these terms, not like grammatical mistakes, so I reach out and start explaining, sending some resources, the website that we all agree that it's a good idea to consult, and the rules, the basic rules that we agreed as a free software community that we should follow. And this usually reflects, and some people say, like, no, you don't tell me how to translate. This is me. So we just don't approve the translation.
Right.
But those people that are listening, they became like a very good translators. But again, it's really hard to the thing that I found working is if you give them a specific task, they're really happy. One of the items we did last year was when we translated uh, Thunderbird to 100%. We said we will have a like bug bash, or like there is the software, go ahead and find the errors,
Hmm.
because it was translated by in the last 10 years by at least 50 people, and we all have our own ways on how to translate string by string, but then when it comes to one place it looks ugly sometimes. So we said, there is a software, we think it's amazing. It turns it was not. So
Oh,
so this is the way we said, if you want to go and fix it, there is a way. If you don't want to fix it yourself, there is another way. You can, fill in this form and we'll fix it for you. So that was working as well for some time. But again, there is a need someone who is not me to be present there with the community, help them, encourage them, and drive them through this process. I'm just, I'm a individual contributor that does different things uh, from time to time. I'm not the person who will, go and drive those people to this journey so they can start helping more.
Gotcha. That makes sense. It's good you know your limits.
Yeah, that was something I wanted to say as well, because in the past, I thought I can do everything, but
yeah.
I realized that I'm not good at many things. So I, prefer to leave those to, the activities to people that are really good at.
Yeah. And just becoming like a better protector of your time and kind of focusing where you can make the most difference and also where you really just enjoy it more. Because I can tell you, like listening to your talk at FOSDEM, that you really love doing this and you're really passionate about it and excited. And sometimes if you start like taking on everything, it's so easy for that like excitement to just wane and become a chore. And then that's
Yeah,
just, yeah, it's not good.
yeah. And it's like something that I do for fun.
Hmm.
So it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. And I think that's good to keep it being fun. And sometimes if you have to step away for a little bit to get to a better place where it can be fun again, I think that's an important part of the contributor journey too, is to have when things happen in people's life, have a nice little off ramp and then give them an easy way if when everything clears up, if they want to come back. Yeah,
Yep.
because this should always be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Totally agree.
Yes. Speaking of your talk at FOSDEM, which I got to see your last one in,
Oh
oh my
no.
gosh, February. Seems like ages ago we were at FOSDEM. How is it
Yep.
already almost May? I don't know. Um, but you've given talks at other conferences too. And as someone who also loves to give talks at conferences, what do you enjoy about these? Kind of what made you get started at giving talks at conferences? And what would you say if maybe there's someone listening who's like, well, I want to give a talk, but I'm not sure if I'm the one who should do this or if they're nervous in any way, kind of what would you tell them?
Yeah, I'll tell you a story. I
I
started,
love stories.
yeah, I mean, I was giving a lot of talks in my young ages, but mainly in into my own language. So I was not comfortable in, talking in English and giving
Oh,
talks in English. And then, COVID came and this situation, became like worse and worse because, I was sitting at home talking just, to my son, my wife, and my dog, into Bulgarian, of course. And then, I decided to challenge myself. And there was this conference in Vienna. It's really nice. It turns out it was sponsored by Mozilla as well.
oh,
It's called Half Stack. I don't know if I can say it, but it's really amazing small community conference. So I decided, okay, I said, I want to do a talk there. It was about JavaScript, the conference. I said, I have no idea about JavaScript. I'm not like a techie guy. And I decided to do something completely different. I decided to do a talk about what, what makes me happy. Talk about happiness. Why we, as developers or IT people, why we lost the happiness in our work and how we can bring it back. So I did this talk. Uh, it included a live musician on the stage with a violin. I paid him 100 euro to be with me. Don't tell my wife. And
we'll edit
and
this out of the video.
yeah, it was good. It was good. I was really stressed. And I said, hey, English is not my like mother language. Excuse me. And then at the end, it turns out it was amazing. There was one guy said, your talk was the most interesting in the conference. I was like, what? Really? So I said, okay, I'll try. I tried a few more times, talking about something I like, not something that it's necessarily the topic of the conference. So I did the FOSDEM as well, saying, that was, my talk about, heavy metal and how you can, use it to bring your, focus back. And slowly, I started, to inject more, usefulness into my talks in terms of maybe when I'm talking about, in a free software conference, maybe I should mention something about free software, right? And I started talking about, Thunderbird, how good it is, how we can start contributing. The other projects that I contribute to, like OpenStreetMap, I started talking about, how I convince people to start the journey in the OpenStreetMap and others and others and others. So my advice it will be just do it. I mean, people at the conferences, they're even if you don't speak really well the language, they're really open, especially on conferences for open source and free software or small community conferences. It's about the experience. It's not about how well do you speak the language. And then when you get a bit of confidence, you go to other events. You might get a keynote, or you get invited into Thunderbird Community Hour, or this is how
You've
it
made the
goes.
big time now. You're a star.
Yay! I'm
Yeah.
on the TV.
So
So yeah, and this unlocks, um, to the ways to challenge yourself, to go and say, hey, I can do this. I mean, and I'm the real example. And there is a proof. There is a talk that I gave, I think 10 years ago in English in Prague, and it's so bad. I asked the conference a couple of times to remove it from YouTube. They said, no, 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 this is our content. You know, but yeah, I can go back and see, ugh, you know, and now I'm not saying that I'm better now. I mean, I'm better, but I'm not saying that, I'm like a perfect, like, native speaker, but I try to experiment as much as I can.
No, but the fact that you're able to have a really pretty advanced conversation with us, and especially as Americans are so monolingual, I
Hmm.
think we forget sometimes how much work it is to be bilingual or trilingual. And so that was such an awesome story. I think you totally had Heather at the heavy metal and focus. I just saw your face just light up
I
at that.
love heavy metal, like so much. And
Yes.
I go to concerts all the time, mostly like technical melodic death metal is my genre.
Yeah.
But I agree that you can use it to get to like really focus. I am gonna have to go find your FOSDEM talk now and like watch it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not synchronized well, but I think you'll get the gist of it.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
great. And I love the advice of just like talk, kind of practice talking about something that you're very comfortable with, right? Because
Hmm.
yeah, I think that's a really good idea. And it sounds so nice and validating that the person came up to you and said that was the best talk of the conference. It really
Yeah.
resonated with them because you're passionate about it and
Yeah.
that came through. That's awesome.
Yeah, maybe that was it. If no one gave me the feedback, you know,
Hmm.
maybe, I could have taken another turn and, decided not to do it, but do something else.
Yeah. Kind of going back to your day-to-day contributions,
Hmm.
what kind of development tools have you found to be most helpful to you in doing translation contributions?
All right. I mean, given the fact that most of the time I use web-based tools like Pontoon, I don't know whether this is development tool or not. The other one that I like a tool, I don't know, again, it's development or not. It's a small software that is developed here in the Czech Republic. It's called WebLate.
Oh
It's
yeah,
for, yeah,
Yep.
it's for translation as well. And we use it for, well, not Firefox, but Thunderbird Android.
that's right.
Yes, so it's interesting one as well. I use something called PoEdit in the past, where you can download all of your language files and you do the translation offline, and then you just upload them to somewhere. I don't know whether it's possible or not, but I prefer the web-based tools now because if I don't know a word, I can go and check, especially in Pontoon, how this word was translated before in another project or sub-project, and I can get some inspiration. Also, some of the tools that are available online for assisted translation, to call it, it's available there. They're available there. So I don't use a lot of development tools. When I have to, well, I use Thunderbird. I don't know if it's a developer tool or not, but I have like three versions installed.
Hmm.
The nightly and the beta and the official version. So I need to go and check everything on them. And I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I love the idea of an offline translation tool because that makes sense, right? You're translating strings, you should be able to do that offline. And I've always found myself on airplanes wanting to do some work, but not wanting to pay for the Wi-Fi. So it's like a perfect, perfect thing to do in that situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but the world is going to online
Yes.
anyway. There are no a lot of desktop tools that are working out without the internet connection these days,
right.
which is sad.
True.
I know
Agreed.
it's nice that Thunderbird is one of the ones that does work in offline mode. So hey,
Yes, it
yeah.
does. You can do whatever you want, but if you want to chat with somebody, now you have a problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Minor problem. Minor.
You
Um,
can chat.
I
You can chat with yourself as
yes.
well, but let's
People
not
might give
get
you
there. Let's
looks.
not get there.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question about something you mentioned, and that's the assisted translations. How do you feel about that? How do you see it helping or not helping, or, you know, how do you feel about kind of AI entering the space?
Well, if you ask me this question like 6 months ago, probably will tell you that I don't like them at all. But I got exposed to all of those tools in my new job, and I started to find value for using, I don't know how to call it. It's like another brain. It's not AI because there is no intelligence in it still, especially emotional intelligence.
Right.
I believe that when you're translating something, you need to understand the bigger picture, and the tools can help you. If, for example, there is a really long text that you need to process, I usually translate it somehow with another tool, the one that you mentioned, to get the context, so I can understand what the project is trying to tell, and then to, let's say, code it through my brain and to translate it as it should be. The bad thing about this is if there is like a really short sentence, and sometimes it's not easy to understand as well the context. And when, for example, I use like a suggestion from one of the engines, and I try to use at least two or three of them to get like different suggestions. And when all of them they give me like different result, and I'm getting more confused. So I use them as helpers, not as something that I would use immediately without thinking.
Yeah, I love that answer. I think that's a good
Yeah.
answer. And you're
Hmm.
right. They are completely lacking of emotional intelligence. So LLMs, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I don't know what will happen in the future. Maybe it's, something that will bring the human race to something amazing, right?
Yeah,
If
maybe.
we, if, or not. We'll see. And I feel that um, a lot of people that I know, especially people that, I work with, they count too much on using the tools instead of thinking. And I
Mm,
found this really bad because, uh, I don't want to live in a world where the creativity is replaced by a machine or something. People
Yeah.
are super creative. LLMs are not, and they will not
Hmm.
be super creative anytime soon.
they
Yeah.
squash creativity, in fact,
Yeah.
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
world where
And
critical thinking is already on decline.
Yep.
we don't need things that kind of can that if especially if it's overused, then you're kind of when you outsource all your critical thinking, it that ability atrophies. And yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see people start to think the same. I'll give you another
Hmm.
example quickly. We had a question, what do we want to do for International Women's Day? Like, and we started, thinking about, we need to do this, we need to do that. And then there was this channel in our company, and you see like three absolutely the same suggestions, which were suggested by specific model.
Hmm.
Absolutely the same, saying, we need to do this. It's like, okay, that was, I thought it was a really stupid idea, and I explained why. But you see the people start
Yeah.
thinking in a very specific direction, which, creativity is like zero.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It just kind of flattens everything to this really just kind of mundane, boring
Yeah.
norm. Yeah.
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 Or
Mm.
logic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll shut up now. Let's
I
not
was
talk
saying,
more.
I was saying that Heather's cat definitely agrees.
Yes, Eve agrees. Uh,
So
we have a
what?
couple more questions for you, and
All right.
then we will
Yeah,
let you
let
go.
you get to bed. So what have you? So you've been with the project a long time and working with new translators. What are some of the things that you've learned from them?
Ooh, an amazing question. I learned that some things are changing because, we have this, as I mentioned, we have this dictionary for stating that the browser is translated into Bulgarian like this. And someone said, but this is not relevant anymore. You should rethink that. And actually, it was really correct. Because if you're thinking, what the browser is, it was, translated in a way that it's kind of a reader, but it's not like a
Mm,
reader anymore. So, we started thinking about can we change that? So I learned something new from like a different perspective.
yeah.
And the second item I, learn from new people, it's again the the when I give them like a feedback saying you should not translate this like that because of yada yada. And if they reply to me like with arguments, I learn from them a lot because they are probably closer to a specific group that have this thinking, or my, as I mentioned, my old database that is planted here like long time ago cannot process new things. So I'm trying to, let's say, I'm trying to learn from every experience that I have. And yeah, I really like working with a lot of people, and especially at FOSDEM when you see that majority of people that are translating free software, we have the common problems. We know what the problems are, but we don't know how to solve them. So that was something interesting that I realized as well. That we complain about the same thing, and when we needed to find a way on how to solve them, the meeting was over, and that's it. So, so yeah, really like different opinions and different challenges, which is good.
Yeah, and I really love what you said about, when you kind of said like push back against someone's translation and they were like, no, here's why I did it. Instead of being like, no, this is the way it's done, you're wrong. You were like, oh, here's something that I can learn from. And it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
such, and that that community spirit that we want to have, that we have people who have been here forever and we have people who are brand new, and we can learn from each other and work together to make
yeah,
Thunderbird even better. And that's just I love it.
Absolutely. We are, one community.
Yeah.
There is a really nice song of a group called Creator.
Yeah,
Um,
I know Creator.
yeah, I saw them like 6 days ago in Prague.
Mm.
So there is one really nice song that I use all the time.
Mm.
Um, it says it's about the power of community. So I think that's the most important thing.
Will you send me that song or tell me
Yes,
the
I
name of
will.
it later?
I will.
Yeah, that's great. Um, so I want to flip Monica's question now and ask you, what advice would you have for any newcomers today?
To listen to what I say to them. No, um, I think they should be open for critique,
Yes.
um, especially when they're joining a project or a product with like a long history, because the way the things are, maybe there is a good reason to understand, and then if you want to change something, you can, but first you need to understand that. And the second advice could be go and break things, right? Don't ask people to ask you to do things. Just go, try, experiment. Even if you do something wrong, it's a learning experience. So just do it.
Yeah, just try. Just try
Yeah.
things. I think that's great experience, great advice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember my first project. I broke a repository more than once, and thankfully it's someone who was able to put it right back together. And he's like, okay, like you've learned why you don't do that. Let's learn the proper way.
Right? Yeah.
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 Well,
That's a
thank you,
good way to
Bogo.
handle things. Thank you. It was a real
Thanks for your
pleasure.
time and for
Oh,
being such a kind leader in our space for 20
yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Thank you
really
for giving me the opportunity. If there was no Thunderbird, I will not be here.
Well, we're
well,
glad there's a Thunderbird, and we're glad that there's you.
yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, well, thank you again. Have a great rest of your week and a good night. Thanks
Yeah,
for
I'm
joining
going
us
to.
so late as well. All
My
right.
mistake. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.